Welcome back to Joe in the Know. Our next guest I've had the pleasure of working with in several different spaces, but we have Miss Misty Case. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Excited.
I'm very excited too. It's a pleasure to have you. So let's start with telling everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you've done.
Sure. Where to begin? My name's Misty McGuire Case. I am a Wilkes County native, born and raised. I left for a short period of time and moved to Charlotte. Went to college there, but it didn't take me long to find my way back and bring my family and my business with me. So, yeah, here we are. I'm immersed. I have my own business. I now have a nonprofit. I have a son who's 7 that I homeschool, and I'm a mover and shaker in the community, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is really exciting.
A little exhausting.
So let's talk about your first business, Pixels on Paper.
Mm-hmm. Pixels on Paper, photography and graphic design. I photograph anything from kids and seniors. I photograph some weddings, not as many as what we used to. I've been in the business for, 20 years this year, actually. I've had that business. Now doing a whole lot of families and babies in our studio, which is in Wilkesboro, and commercial work too. Headshots, real estate, you name it. Jack of all trades.
That's right. That's right.
That's good.
And that's where I first met you, is doing weddings.
Right.
I was doing DJ work and you were doing pictures. So I guess that's where we first crossed paths.
Probably.
And now recently in the nonprofit area, I met you out at a bunch of events we've been parts of. So
it's been excited to make connections out in the community and meet people and see who else is doing a lot of great things out there.
That's right. And I think you have an event coming up, correct?
I do. So I mentioned that top nonprofit that we started, and it's Touch a Truck Wilkes. And everybody immediately says, what is Touch a Truck? Well, Touch a Truck is a family-friendly, free event that we started for all kinds of vehicles that are coming out. Kids can climb on, touch. Not only kids. This is actually too for any of the grown adults that are still big kids as well. But they get to climb on, touch, be around those, and more importantly, actually meet the people that operate them.
Yeah.
That's coming up on September 6th at Rotary Park in North Wilkesboro from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock.
10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And in the past, I know that you had a specific time, like an hour at the end, that you set back for kids that have maybe special needs and things like that. Is that still the case?
It is. We have what we call a sensory hour from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, where we have no horns, no sirens, no loud noises during that time. Let the families that do have some kids that are sensitive to those sounds, or maybe even just the moms that are tired of hearing a whole lot of loud sounds, come in and enjoy it the same way that the others get to.
Awesome. That's great. So what got you to start Touch a Truck? Like, where did you get the idea? How did you start it? Let's go there.
Yeah, no, very, very good question. And I can't take the credit for all of that. Mm-hmm. Back in 2019 when it started. So we're going into our 5th year of having it. A good friend of mine, Matt Matthews, who is our State Farm agent here in town, he had not too long ago moved from Georgia and brought the concept of Touch a Truck with him. And that very first year, actually, I didn't have anything to do with it except for being a volunteer, but I loved it. And so my whole entire family got involved and we volunteered alongside Matt. It was significantly smaller, but I loved it, loved the concept. Well, then, as everybody knows, right after 2019, here comes COVID.
Timing.
Yeah, perfect timing, perfect storm where everything shuts down. Everything stops and pauses. Well, for whatever reason, Touch a Truck was just never off of my radar. And I know the reasons, which I can get into a little bit of that too. But it wasn't I'm thinking our next year was probably 2021, if I'm doing my math right, 2022, that I went back to Matt and I said, hey, let's bring this back. People are ready to come out of the lockdown. Families here in Wilkes especially need something free to do. It's outside. We want to have a good time and have fun. Can we bring this back? And at that time, Matt said, I loved it. I'd love to do it and be a part of it, but I don't have the capacity to do it anymore. And I pretty much said, can I take it over? Will you let me have it? And he's like, absolutely. It was nothing that he was really tied to in that way. Take it and run with it. So then getting back to my why I really wanted to take it and run with it. I grew up here. I grew up in a rural part of Wilkes County on a farm. My mom and dad are truck drivers. It all started out early on with my dad in a logging business. Even my mom was cross-country truck driver. And my dad got into construction. So all that to say, I was around all this big, heavy equipment for years. I loved it. It was just something I grew up with, but it was normal to me too. I didn't really know how important it was. Move forward many, many years ago. I'm an older mom, let's say, that once I had my son, he became around it too. He was immersed in our farm life and our construction life. He loved the equipment just as much. But then I also realized the kids that he was spending time with at the same time loved that equipment, but didn't have the opportunity to be around it, other than seeing it in the car window as they're driving by at all these construction sites or reading books. One of our favorite books to read when my son was really young was Little Excavator. And oh my gosh, I must have read that book. Beep, beep goes the excavator. Anybody that knows that hundreds of times. So it just became a passion to introduce all these other children and families to this equipment close up that they could touch and climb on and be around and just get the experience. Combined with, here goes the next part of this and why Touch a Truck is what it is to me and why I'm passionate about it is, to be quite frank, college is not for everybody. And we're in a community, in a rural community especially, where trade skills, actually I think we're in a nation where trade skills are so important and it's a dying breed. And I wanted the county in general, but especially children and families, to realize these trade skills that are going on behind all this equipment and operations and how much fun it can be and actually how successful it can be as well. So I combined the two passions, the passion of giving these children opportunities, the passion behind trade skills, and just opportunity to connect those people out. And hence was born Touch a Truck. And it's continued to grow immensely, which I'm so excited about. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. I've made connections over the years like yourself, all the other business members, people out in the community that love it, that want to be a part of it, and continue to ask me, what can I bring? What are we going to see? How many people are we going to meet? So that's it in a nutshell, which is a pretty big book.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Your heart seems to be in the right place. And because of that, you see that growth. You see people wanting to be involved in that because I think our community does look for that positive involvement. I think people are looking for that, especially after COVID. People were ready to get out, like you said, and people want to get involved with each other. And I think that's something we need too, is we need positivity and to see positivity in the community and help each other grow and get things started again, get things going on here in Wilkes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that it's free. We all know prices of everything are going up right now. It's hard to make ends meet. You look for entertaining opportunities, outdoors, fun, to get the kids out, run around in a safe environment, but you don't want to spend a whole lot because you're already spending a lot on groceries. So this is a good opportunity. I've really had that in mind the whole time of planning and grow, is keeping it free, keeping those resources. And I couldn't do it without, having sponsors, having people that are able to contribute their equipment and volunteer their time. We've got a huge volunteer group that helps me keep it that way. And I just couldn't do it without the community standing behind and being a part of this too. I'm so excited.
That's right. The community involvement's huge, and that's something I hope to see growing in the future.
So for sure.
So what kind of challenges have you faced in putting this together? What's the hardest thing when you think about what you've got to do this year or next year? What's the one thing that sticks out of this is really a challenge?
Oh, this is a life lesson. Now you got into that thought come to mind right away. The hardest thing for me personally, delegating. Delegating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a life lesson. As this has grown and become the capacity, and when I say that, we have about a little over 2,000 guests last year in only 4-hour time. And we had about 80 pieces of equipment, maybe a little bit more, give or take, 50 some odd businesses and people that are there. It's big and it's legit and it's a valid event. Well, with that and me trying to spread myself all over it has got to be really hard. And I have to come to terms with all the things that I do that I am at capacity. I cannot physically do this. So especially this year, as I'm looking to double the growth and the numbers that it has been, I've had people lecture me and say, you can't do it all. You have to reach out and have a good team. And I do. I feel like this year especially, I have been able to release some of those responsibilities. Even, believe it or not, Joe, photography. I've been able to release photographing at the event, which is a really hard thing. But knowing that I can trust my team to do it, and I get to be there and finally see the kids' faces and meet the people that are involved with and release some of that tension on me, it's hard, but it's exciting and it's good.
If you find good people that are strong and reliable, and you put them out there and they do a good job for you, it gets easier with time, luckily. And so, yeah, hopefully that'll be something that'll be easier for you and help you out in the future.
Oh, for sure. And from a young age, I've known I was a leader. My family and friends around me knew that I was a leader. I'm just that type A go-getter personality. I think it's just innate in some of us, and it's a learned behavior. So especially for a leader, it's really hard to relinquish those jobs that you think, oh, but I can do it better. I can get it done. But honestly, I had a friend come to me this year somewhere. I'm very active and busy with the Justice Project, which is another organization here in Wilkes County. But the director of that came to me and he said, Misty, would this event go on if you were not leading it? And I had to stop and think, okay, one, would I want it to? Yes, absolutely. I see this being something that's a big benefit for the community. But if I'm not teaching others how to take up the spear and run with it and do all the things, then that legacy would end right away. So that was something that really hit close to home in my heart. And I realized, okay, this is something that a leader can also do, is help instruct others to take this and take the reins and go forward with it.
That's right. I think that's a very important leadership trait, but that's one that I think people overlook. And I think it's one of the hardest ones to implement for people because, like you said, a lot of your leaders, they're type A personality. They thrive on
control,
being the leader, being in control. And it's hard to relinquish that. It's hard to divvy that out. But if you can get a strong team and people you can trust, I think that'll really help you out. And hopefully you pieced a lot of that together and you'll be able to have a little more faith in being able to release the reins a little bit. I get that. I've experienced that myself. And I've had a hard time doing the same things when I either through the DJ business or when I was doing Safe Kids. It's kind of the same thing. You know, you can trust yourself. You know, you can get it done, but can that person, and are they going to do what is expected? And that's a hard question. And you can only answer that question when you give them the opportunity. Right.
And it's definitely taught me a lot about trust. Yes. Trusting others, giving them the faith, giving them the opportunity to better themselves. And it's the same, you know, yes, I have a photography and graphic design business, and I've had it for 20 years, as I mentioned earlier. But if I don't relinquish that opportunity that I have of going around and photographing, and I use those photos to promote the event, it's fun to see the kids' expressions. But if I'm not bringing the person that is actually going to help me this year is someone fresh out of the community college. This is what he wants to do in the future. So it's an opportunity to help him and build a resume and do something fun and be in the community and do that. If I hadn't let go of it, he wouldn't have that chance. So.
Exactly. What are your short-term goals with Touch a Truck?
Short term is to introduce the community to other opportunities that are out there. That really is the ultimate goal. Whether it be, for instance, the Wilkes Community College is going to be there on site. They've got a new heavy equipment operation program. They've got a CDL program. I could go on and on about all the opportunities that are there. Well, I think it's really important for even kids that are coming, whether they're 3-year-old or 15-year-old, to see that they can stay right here in our hometown and see what those opportunities are here. Everything from, GFL Environmental. It's a trash truck. The kids are super thrilled when they see these bright green trash trucks. Well, guess what? There's a real person driving that. There's a real job to be had. There's an income to be made by this person. When someone connects the piece of equipment with the person that's behind the wheel who's actually doing it, I think that's going to broaden our horizons and build community and let everyone know of the opportunities. And it's the same. We have race cars. Well, there's a race car driver that's there and going to let you try on their helmet and maybe sit in the what they even call the cockpit in that situation, that's going to tell you about the experiences. Yeah, you could go on to be a race car driver. Is it easy? No. Is it something that's easily attainable? Well, it might be. If you know and you have actually had the opportunity to see and speak with someone that's real, that's in that position. One of our themes this year is, well, the theme this year that we've kind of adopted ourselves is climb in and dream big. And that just really hit me hard when I was trying to think of what's the theme, what's the motto that we want to go with. I want anybody, if they're going to climb up into the cab of a front end loader, dream it. If you can climb in, you can dream what you can do with that opportunity. If it's something you really want to do and have fun with. I mean, gosh, my dad is about to be 70. Yeah, I hope I don't age him, and he might be embarrassing me telling him this, but my dad's about to be 70. He runs construction equipment. When I grew up, and still to this day, he can get in any piece of heavy equipment and operate it better than anybody I know. And my son wants to be just like him. You know, he loves seeing all the equipment and that my dad runs. Well, my dad tells him, you know, I don't want you to have to do this job. I want you to want to do this job. Mm-hmm. So if you have fun at it, and these kids can dream about it, or even the adults dream about what they're going to do when they're in this job, then it's attainable and it's going to be enjoyable. None of us want to be in a position where we're miserable. So dream big, climb in and dream big.
Hey, that's perfect, I think. And I like the way you made that connection of seeing the equipment, wanting to, hey, I would love to drive that, and then actually getting to speak to somebody, make those connections, and the networking.
Yeah.
If you know somebody, you know about it, you know that takes a person to drive that equipment, and then you make those connections out here. You know, those are connections you can start making as a kid, and as you come up, you're going to know how to get involved in that, and I think that's really important. Like you said, that's what's going to get them where they want to be and build the community. I think that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much here as an opportunity in Wilkes that I will even say when I was a teenager, I'll be one of the first to admit I couldn't wait to get out of this town. When I looked at it that way, I thought, oh, there's nothing going on here. There's nothing to do. And I graduated high school and I went to college in Charlotte, a big town where there was lots. But guess what? I came back. And even now, you couldn't have convinced me then what I know now of the opportunities that were there. But I also see a lot of those, which I will say myself is included, that have came back here or stayed here the whole time. And if we don't see the opportunity, we're going to make it. We've created the opportunity. And those of us that are in this role, I want to see these kids stay. I want to see this town, thrive and community being built and see opportunities for everyone that actually wants to be here.
Exactly. I mean, I kind of had the same mentality when I was in my upper teens, couldn't wait to get out when I joined the Marine Corps, and it's like, yeah, I'm out of here. And Wilkes holds a special place in our hearts, obviously. And then, you make it into what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
And there's so much opportunity. There's so much potential. And like you, I want the best for everybody. I want everybody to be successful. And we can do that. You don't have to hold somebody down or hold somebody back to be successful. You can all grow together. The more successful everybody is, we're all in a better place for that. And that's kind of one of my goals too, is hopefully passing that along and letting people understand that there's ways to get where you want to be. You've just got to want it, and you've got to put in a little bit of work and effort, and you'll get there if you actually aim at something and keep your goals aligned. You can get there.
I was listening to NPR or something this morning as I was getting ready, and they were talking to a very goal-oriented person. And the moral of the story was that she said, if I take giving up out of the equation, then there's no other option left but to succeed. And that just really stuck with me. I mean, here we are, this day and time to where I think a lot do want to try maybe, but don't continue to try. But if you were literally to take giving up off of anything that you set your mind to off of the table, then you would find any way to accomplish it. So I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, it resonates pretty loudly.
Yeah. Exactly. Failure is not an option. And so, well, success is the only other available option. So, yeah, keep trying and keep working. That's what you've got to do.
Even in relation to Touch a Truck, I mean, I do not like to ask for people for money. I do not like it. I'm very uncomfortable with it. That takes me completely out of my comfort zone. However, it's also very important for me to keep Touch a Truck free. And there are some, operating costs involved. And so with that this year, I kind of told myself the worst thing they can say is no.
Exactly.
I can ask, and the worst thing they can say is no. So the good thing out of that is very few people told me no. Now, that doesn't mean I have endless amounts of cash because I only got what we could actually need or that we needed and could utilize. But it's the same way with me going out and asking for pieces of equipment, Crossroads, Harley Davidson. I was like, why not bring out a motorcycle? Call them up, ask. Yeah, we'd love to be there. It's the same with all of our sponsors. They're excited, all this equipment.
Exactly.
So, worst thing they can say is no, and I'm going to keep on going. It's not going to affect the rest of my life in any negative way.
Yep, that was something that I was kind of the same way. I didn't want to ask people for, especially money. Money is the hardest thing to ask for. Bringing out whatever equipment you have, that one's a little easier. But when you've got to ask for money, that one's like, I don't like doing that. But people are happy to do it, and when they see that you're doing something worthwhile, when they can actually see what you're doing with it, they're more than happy to help out. And I think the event speaks for itself. That's why it continues to grow and be so successful. I mean, it's a great thing, and people love it.
Thank you.
People love it.
Thank you. We've taken on an opportunity, too, to also connect people with community resources, whether it be Safe Kids coming out and providing car seat checks or having the fire safety house, teaching kids things about that, whether it's fire safety. I'm trying to think other resources that are at Project Lazarus comes out, other people that are handing out foods, and just there's lots of community resources here in Wilkes that a lot don't know about them. I mean, for instance, I'm very also involved with the Wilkes Community Partnership for Children. Mm-hmm. I didn't know anything about that partnership until someone gave me a leaflet when I was in the hospital giving birth to our son. I knew nothing about it. Well, it turns out they have completely free services for all children 0 to 5 that are not in any kind of daycare situation. And it's just to prepare children for kindergarten. There's so many incredible things going on, but I know that there are probably people just like me that the only time they would have heard about them is if they'd gotten that brochure, and 9 times out of 10, they might have put the brochure in the trash. So having them there on site at the event is really important to me, so that everyone can learn more. And that's the same for all those community resources. Yes, it may appear that it's for the kids and that they're having a good time, but I think all the parents are actually going to walk away also having fun, but learning something or connecting to other services and resources that are available to them.
Exactly. There's lots of great things here in Wilkes going on. And like you, I didn't know about the Partnership for Children up until maybe 3 years ago, something like that. It was very recent. And I was like, hey, and I looked into all the things, and I was like, they've got a lot that people can get involved with, and it's going to be a tremendous help if people get involved in this stuff. And there's so many things out there that I think people just don't know about, and hopefully we can continue to get the information out there and get people the resources that are going to make them successful. And that's kind of one of the reasons I'm doing this, I guess, is, I feel like there's that need to get information out there and just learn what's going on in our community, learn what's going on in the world, and just try and make ourselves better versions of ourselves day after day. I think that's important, and that's something we can all do.
Absolutely.
What do you see? What's your 5-year goal what's the 5-year goal for Misty Case, and what's the 5-year goal for Touch a Truck?
Also a good question and a hard question. Mm-hmm. When I set up Touch a Truck as a nonprofit, as I mentioned earlier, I have several businesses, and I am also very business-minded. I looked at it as a business opportunity, as something that I can not only have here in Wilkes County, but I would love to take this to other places, other counties, other states, you name it. I think it's a learning opportunity for the communities. I think it's a great way to bring people together. It is happening in other places. I mentioned Matt had brought it up from Georgia. I believe there's one that goes in Charlotte. There's a smaller one up in Boone. But there's plenty of places that don't have this. maybe don't have the capacity or the knowledge of putting it all together. But now that, I have a good team, I've sort of built the model for what it was, if you will, and the steps and processes are in place to do it. I see it very easily being able to travel. So, I don't know, Richmond, Virginia, bring it on. Nashville, Tennessee, bring it on. That's what I'd like to do. It's fun. It's engaging. I'm enjoying it. My son loves it. He's kind of like yesterday as I was going out visiting equipment dealerships, they look at my 7-year-old son, and a lot of people know Finley. He's easily recognizable, and he's been right there by my side, but they looked at me, they're like, oh no, you brought the closer. So I feel like I got some pretty good ammunition that, yeah, I'd love to see it grow. I'd love to see it go on and be different places.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's easily attainable. Like you said, you've got the framework, you've built it, and, well, there's only one direction to go. You don't have to step out there. So where can people reach out to you?
They can find us on primary right now. The platform is on Facebook. You'll find us at Touch a Truck Wilkes on Facebook. We're working on getting a website developed. I couldn't get that fast enough. But they can also email us at touchatruckwilkes@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, we'll put some links down in the description and get your information out there. And I appreciate you coming on. It's been fantastic. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I hope to see everybody on September the 6th.
September the 6th. Be there.